So that leaves us to answer the question: do you want a season two? I think that's an easy answer.
Yeah, I would. I
Yeah.
would like a season two. Um, I think it's left off in I think it's left off in its most compelling place at this point.
Yep.
In terms of where these characters are and where they're going. Um, I think they got to be careful though. One of the things that was a little weird to me at the end of this show is, and again, I get the whole idea is to present this show from the perspective of the bad guys, right?
That's
The
what they
Sith or
said.
whatever. Because it does kind of at the end, you kind of get this vague impression that like, okay, now May and Osha and Kymir are on the run from these bad Jedi, right? Like that whole hunting scene, it seems a little weird
Yeah.
in that they've now become like the oppressed, right? And they're trying to escape. Um, I don't think it works if you turn the Sith into like
Into
the
the good
misunderstood
guys.
good guys, because the Sith are like,
They're
I get
not.
that I get that some of these stories like that the Jedi messed up and they
Yeah.
drove people towards some things
Yeah.
to some resentment and some bitterness towards them, but the Sith are not misunderstood. They're very understood, right? They want power, they want conquest, they want to rule over others, and they believe the Force is their gift and their right to do it. And
Yeah.
so I get what they're doing, but I don't want this in another season to become like, oh, the Sith are just misunderstood, right? Like they're really like if we go into this show with Kymir and Osha going forward, like you can't really build them up as good people and Sith because those things are very in opposition to each other, right?
Yeah.
The original trilogy, the prequel trilogy was very clear about that. The Jedi are supposed to represent the light, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not doing a very good job of justice, peace, sacrifice. And then the Sith are the complete antithesis to that, right? Selfishness,
Yeah.
anger, power.
You got to go to their
Things that we
creed.
would,
Yeah.
most people would agree, not
Bad.
great things to base your life on.
Yeah.
So I just don't want it to go that way. I'm excited for another season, and I hope we get another season to continue this story.
Yeah.
But the end of this show felt like it shifted a little bit that way. They're like, well, these are really your characters.
Sith
right?
holding
like,
hands, looking at the sunset. It's a weird thing, right?
It is. And not that they can't be human and have
Yeah.
character traits to them, but the show felt a little bit shifted at the end where it was like, as they're running and trying to escape, and May's sacrificing herself for Osha so that they can escape. A part of me was like, these people are like, Kymir's still evil, right? Like,
Yep.
let's not forget this. May or Osha's about to go start being evil, right? That's kind of
Yep.
what it seems like. So, I just want to make sure they keep the idea that there's light and dark.
Keep
They're
our
on
bad
opposite
guys
sides
bad.
to an extent, right?
Yeah.
Because the Sith, again,
They're
you
bad.
can have a misunderstood bad guy, but probably not a Sith, right? Because that's a very that's a very specific evil that you're chasing as a
Yep.
Sith. And so,
For sure.
I
Well,
don't
yeah.
know, but yeah, I want another season. I'm excited to see
Yeah.
where it goes.
I want
Yeah.
season 2. And I want it under the guise of, okay, we're, he's got his acolyte now. So you're going to shift from, okay, May is getting rid of all these Jedi from this one instance almost 2 decades ago to, hey, we're in hiding from the Jedi. We're not going to be out doing evil things. Like, you're going to be training or whatever, but our main goal from here on out is to hide from these Jedi that are now chasing us. And we're also trying to take over Plagueis, and we're going to be the two.
Yeah.
I want that shift. So
That would be
then
cool.
you're almost, even if you do be like, oh, the bad guys are on the run, they are still having bad motives and, along those lines. So I don't mind the whole, like, from a certain point of view, like watching it from their side and them thinking they're good, what they're doing, like, or what they're doing is right. That's fine, because what they do think what they're doing is right. But let's not also, like, pretend that they're good. But I just want to see that hiding aspect. And then maybe, like, on down the road, you've got it to where Kymir's not around anymore, and it's Plagueis and Osha or something like that. And you get into the political side of things, like, hey, this is how we hide. We accumulate our power politically until it's time to take it by the Force, which ultimately, that's the Plagueis novel, of course. But
and we've seen glimpses of like the attempt to overthrow. Like we see Vader try to bring Luke over. We see
happens all the
Dooku
time,
kind of try to bring Obi-Wan over.
Mhm.
It's like, hey, join me. We'll take this guy down. I do think it would be interesting to see like all the hiding and the manipulation that Kymir would have to do. like lying. If assuming Plagueis is his master, right? That's the assumption here. Like lying to him, trying to keep things. What is Plagueis's perception? How much is he onto? Are
How
they
long is he
hiding,
gonna let it
hiding
go?
from both? So because obviously he knows now, and so that would be a really interesting thing to watch and a cool dynamic to see. Is that interplay between a Sith master and a Sith apprentice, with the hiding and the manipulating and the attempt to overthrow, and then the Sith training, like to see Chimere train Osha would be cool because that's we don't see a lot of Sith training throughout anything.
When you read like where Plagueis made Palpatine go stand in the cold, you know, like that's, and like he has to go out in the winter with no jacket or whatever, like just harsh things like that would be cool.
Yeah, I think a second season has a lot of potential to do some really interesting things that we haven't seen or haven't really had expanded yet. And it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I'm on board with another season. I would like to see it.
Yeah.